You want to hear a joke?
Yeah.
All right. So, mother knocks on her son's door and says, "Get up, time to go to church." And the son's in there with the covers over his head, and he's like, "I don't want to go there. I'm not going." And she's like, "Get up, get dressed, get in the car." He's like, "No, I don't want to go there. The people there are mean and they're rude, and I hate it there. It's boring." She's like, "Get up, you got 5 minutes, get in the car." And he's like, "Give me one good reason why I should go to church today." And she goes, "'Cause you're the pastor." You heard that one before, Malcolm?
Yeah, but I heard it with like a llama.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That the llama doesn't want to go?
Yeah, he doesn't want to go.
That's awesome. Where'd you hear it? In India? In
Um,
Tibetan?
No, I think I might have heard it from our religion professor.
Oh, really?
Either way.
That's awesome.
Do you guys want to hear something silly?
Sure.
So my wife and I watched Rocket Man yesterday.
Okay.
And
Elton John?
Yeah. And in the movie, they make the joke that they just flew in from England, and boy, are their arms tired.
Okay.
And she never heard that before.
Your wife?
That was the funniest thing.
Oh my God. Did she crack up or what?
Yeah, and I just like, how did you make it?
Like, do I even know you? Like,
That is
Some of those old ones are the funniest.
yeah, that is true. Some of the younger people don't know those old jokes, you know.
Yes, yeah.
Because I know I say jokes sometimes and people are like, "Oh God, you're so funny." And I'm like, I didn't write that. Like, Jack Benny and Milton Berle
I'm
used to.
gonna hit her with "Why did the chicken cross the road?" See how that goes.
That'll stump her for a while, huh? All right. So we were talking last week about Bodhichitta, of course. Does anybody want to have a good definition of Bodhichitta?
A flash of kindness.
A flash of kindness.
That's good. I like to say something. It's like a kind of a glimpse into the enlightened state.
A glimpse into the enlightened state. Do you know?
I concur with the above statement.
Smart man, smart man.
I cannot confirm my knowledge.
Yeah, so bodhicitta is a lot of things, but it's mostly the desire to get awakened yourself so that you can help others, right? And the way you practice that is by changing your thoughts, thinking kindness towards others, right? And then by service, by serving others. These are ways that you're improving your own mind and getting closer to that state of enlightenment, right? And as you're doing that by helping others and thinking kind thoughts about others, it's helping you reach closer to that state of enlightenment where each time you get closer, you learn on a deeper level what people actually need. You know what I mean? So sometimes you'll see somebody and they're in a bad situation, but to give them $100 is actually going to be worse for them than beneficial. Does that make sense? Sometimes you're in a situation where actually tough love is better than giving them the shirt off your back. So you have to be enlightened yourself in order to get to that point. And until enlightenment, you're just struggling to be as kind as you can so that it'll benefit your own life and progression, I guess. So also the scripture that we read was about the aspiring mind and the venturing mind. Does anybody remember anything about that?
I can't remember if it was here or somewhere else, but is that between thinking about doing something and what's your thinking about doing something and actually doing something?
That's right. Absolutely. So Shantideva said there's two aspects here. There's the aspiring mind where you sit around and think about doing kind acts or helping others, and then there's the venturing mind. That's actually doing it, acting it out. Yesterday, me and Autumn were going home from work the other day, and there was a guy in the middle of the highway, and people were honking and yelling, and they were merging into a lane, but his boat had popped off the hitch, and he was out there by himself trying to get the boat back on there, and people were just honking and yelling and stuff. And like I kind of got it because you're coming over the hill and suddenly everybody stopped, and then you're afraid because you have to slam on your brakes, and there's adrenaline in your system, and then you're like having to merge, and people don't want to let you over, and so you start honking, and you know it's frustrating. You got all this, oh my God, you know, and then you drive by and there's this guy with a boat off of the back of his truck, and so I told Autumn to pull over, and I ran down the road, and when the traffic went by, I ran across. And the guy had a wooden block and a crowbar, and he was trying to use leverage to pick the tongue of the boat up and put it back on the ball, you know. And I said, dude, let's just grab that side and grab this side, and we picked it up and put it on there, and then we latched it and everything, and he was on his way, you know. But, you know, I don't think he got up in the morning saying, I hope my boat falls off my truck today, you know what I mean? He was in a bad situation, and we were making it worse by honking and yelling and all that stuff. Why didn't we just stop? Like, we all could have just stopped and got out and helped the guy, got him on his way and went, you know. But the difference in that would be like the aspiring mind might have got over and went by and said, oh God, I hope that guy gets some help. I hope he's going to be okay. I hope an accident doesn't happen or whatever. But the venturing mind is, let's pull over and actually do something about it. When I went to EMT school a long time ago, I was going to be a paramedic. And the only reason I went is because they needed volunteers in Poteet for the volunteer fire department and the EMT and stuff. And so they would send you to training for free if you would volunteer in Poteet, Jordanton, Pleasanton area to do the EMT stuff. And I remember our instructor was telling us a story about one of the students that was like one of the star students. Like, he studied hard. He was taking the EMT basic. He wanted to be a paramedic. He was early to class and the last one to leave. He asked a lot of questions. He did ride-alongs like every night with the EMS. He really wanted to do this. And then, you know, they're usually pretty slow. Like, very rarely does something happen in that area. But they got a call that on 37 to Corpus, there was like a 9-car pileup, and they needed every EMS, every cop, every fire department, everything to respond to it. And so that guy, the instructor, and this kid or this student was working together that night, and so they took off to 37. And when they got there, they got out of the unit, and when the students saw the reality of what was there with the hurt people, and there was blood, and there was broken bones, and there was, you know, devastation, he freaked out and he took off running. They had all the cars stopped up and down the highway. The police had everybody stopped, and he took off running, beating on everybody's car window, saying, these people need help, these people need help, these people need help, people need help. And the instructor ran and tackled him and dragged him back to the unit, told him to sit in the unit and stay in the unit. And he quit after that. He never went back. He ended his career, you know. And so, you know, the reason that I thought of that is because, like, the aspiring mind is, a lot of times, I'm a good person, I want to do this, I want to help everybody, I want to be, you know, whatever. But then when you're actually in that situation, like I said last week about this guy texting me on Sunday that wanted me to go help him move, I didn't want to answer that text message. I wanted to pretend like I didn't see it, you know. So sometimes it takes a while to evolve to a point where you have to make that decision, like, I got to do this because it's the right thing to do. And not only is it the right thing to do for this person, but it's going to help me. I'm going to get better at this. The more I actually do it, the better I'm going to be at it. And so I don't know, maybe it wasn't that guy's destiny to be a paramedic or whatever, but I think that if he would have survived that and learned from it, I mean, everything after that would have been gravy. You know what I mean? He saw the worst in the beginning. And then he could apply that when he's sitting in class listening and looking at the books. It had become real to him, you know. It leaped off the page into his real life, you know. And so that's what Shantideva is saying, not only thinking about, but actually doing it. So the next verse he says, although great fruits occur in cyclic existence from the mind that aspires to awaken, an interrupted flow of merit does not ensue, as it does with the venturing mind. So he's saying that while thinking good thoughts about others does create positive merit or good karma in your life, actually acting on it and doing good things for others, it creates unlimited merit in your life. And in Buddhism, we believe that we are putting stuff into these two accounts all the time: negative karma and positive karma, all the time. And it's merit that will generate what kind of life we'll have in the future, you know. And so by acting on these things, good thoughts, and actually doing them, we're creating a good karma. And so Shantideva says by actually acting on bodhicitta, an unlimited amount of merit goes into your account. Even while you're asleep, Shantideva says, merit is accumulating in your sleep. So, yeah. It says the aspiring mind has some benefit, but the venturing mind has uninterrupted merit, is what Shantideva says. Any thoughts about that?
What is meant by merit?
Merit is like karma. It's like, and Malcolm, you might have a better way to explain it, but in Buddhism, it's kind of like you can't take anything with you from this life except for the merit that you've created, the karma you've created, you know. And so, like I said, it's like two bank accounts, you know. And when you die, the winds of karma are going to blow you to your next incarnation. And so in Tibetan Buddhism specifically, if I've been greedy and kind of a jerkhole in this life, I've put so much bad karma into the account that I might be blown into the womb of an animal and being born as an animal that's running scared and terrified and being chased through the forest all my life. You know what I mean? And in Tibetan Buddhism, there's a God realm that's kind of like a heavenly realm. And all of these are temporary. They're not eternal until you reach enlightenment or you get off the wheel of samsara, right? And that's what a Buddha has done. He's stepped off the wheel of rebirth. And so the Buddha has created so much merit, so much good karma, that he's escaped the wheel of rebirth. Is that right, Malcolm?
Yeah, well, I mean, that makes me, I think the Buddha, when you're reaching enlightenment, and when you have kind of the realization of like emptiness, and it's like a purification of all your karma.
Right.
And your karma essentially kind of like runs out in a way.
Yeah.
Like it finally stops, and that's like the unique thing about enlightenment, because otherwise your karma keeps accruing.
Right.
And merit specifically refers to, like in my mind, refers to specifically good karma, specifically related to practicing dharma, and specifically related to the teachings. Because like negative, you could say like there's negative merit, but that's just like bad karma. Like,
yeah.
That's probably a better term for it.
Yeah.
But merit specifically is a really big thing culturally in a lot of Buddhist countries, depending on where you go. Like in Tibetan Buddhism, in Tibet, prayer wheels are a really big thing, you know, for generating merit.
Malas.
Malas, just saying different chants and stuff. Like those are really good for generating positive merit, because it's related to the Dharma, and it's like kind of reinforcing the teachings in you. But in other countries, like in Thailand and in Burma, like donating money to a monk is like the highest form of merit. Or like if your son, especially if like someone's son goes into the monastery, that is like huge merit for the family. And so that makes it a bigger cultural tradition. So like in Burma, they have this tradition of like 1 week ordination, where most people end up becoming a monk for 1 week or so, or like a month. And that's like really, really big merit for the family. And so it has to do with specifically like Buddhist practice, and then it has an effect on like the cultural kind of practices.
Yeah. Yeah, but the reason they're spinning the prayer wheel and doing the beads is because they're praying for everyone's enlightenment. So that is bodhicitta, is what they're doing. And the reason they're practicing the bodhicitta and thinking kindly about others is because it's creating good merit for them and also benefiting the world. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so you have to think, just like Christians, they believe like I have to accept Jesus as my Lord and Savior or I'm going to go to hell. In Buddhism, if I don't establish enough merit, it's gonna affect my next life, you know. And so to be born in that culture and be raised in that culture, from the cradle to the grave, you're being told you're going to reincarnate, and it's up to you to determine how that happens. You know what I mean? It's in your hands. Everything is always in your hands. And so they want to create the most positive merit that they can, right? And for us, I mean, even if you don't believe in reincarnation or any of this, Shantideva is saying just in this life, thinking about others, helping others, thinking kind thoughts is going to make you happier, you know? So you don't even have to believe in an afterlife, you know? It's just psychological. There's the psychology of happiness or something like that, where it says, have you ever seen that movie Happy?
But I've read the Dalai Lama's book, The Art
Yeah.
of Happiness.
Yeah, there's a book and a movie Happy where they take different people's lives who are, you know, are super happy, right? And they see in this one guy's a rickshaw guy. Have you seen it? In India, and he's shoeless, and he's on, you know, he said it's so hot that his feet get blisters, and he's pulling a cart with passengers all day long, from the sun up to sundown. And then when it's raining, he's getting rained on and stepping on broken glass and stuff. But he's doing it for his family, to make a couple of dollars to pay for it, you know. And he doesn't live in that city. He lives way in a shanty town out. And so even when he gets done at dark, he has to walk I don't know how many miles to get home. But when he gets home, they're living like in a tent or like a lean-to. And when his kids see him, the look on their face, Daddy's home. And they run and jump into his arms and stuff. And so in talking to this guy and interviewing him, it's just like he thinks, you know, in his mind, he's serving others by pulling this cart so other people don't have to walk. And all day long, he's thinking about his kids, that what he's making money to put food on the table. And then when he gets home and he sees their face light up, you know, and he's extremely happy in this life, you know. And so you can clearly see, and they show different people's lives, and it's all thinking about others and not focusing on their own poor me, sad me, this happened to me, if only it was different, if only I would have been born with money, or if only I would have had better parents, or whatever. These people are just happy in this life doing what they do, no matter how poor, how rich, by generating thoughts of helping others. You know, and being contributing to the world, you know, not taking from the world, but contributing in some way. Does that make sense? All right, I'm going to shut up. All right, let's do our chanting.